Welcome to the 2019 Front Royal Mayor's Forum. Each of the candidates will have a 2-minute opening statement, and then we will proceed with questions. Hollis Tharpe, 2-minute opening statement, please.
Thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight. I have come through a legal storm that was beyond anything that I could have imagined. Personally, it was traumatic, horrific, personally terrifying, and it was a trial not only for me, but my friends, my family, and my supporters. And I might add, my bank account. Defending your honor against a baseless accusation is not cheap. Yet, despite it all, the storm has passed, charges levied against me were dropped, shouted accusations have disappeared, and the stories that were circulated have vanished. God forbid that anyone in this room should ever go through the suffering that my family and I went through on this baseless charge. I come before you tonight only for your support, not only for your support, but to declare my intention to move forward as a mayor who is proud of his community, who will strive to be the best, to do the best of my ability for unity and to move the town forward. So help me God. Thank you for your attention tonight and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Hollis.
I'm Eugene Tewalt. I've been on the town council since 2000, off and on a couple times. I'm mayor from 2008, 2010, and I've enjoyed my work there. I'm married. I've been married for 55 years, which is unusual for a lot of people. I've lived in Warren County most of my life. I moved to Channel County for a period of time, came back here as a civil engineer, worked for the town of Front Royal as Public Works Director for 25 years, retired in 1998. Did a lot of consultant work with 4 or 5 engineering firms over the years. I am a civil engineer, by the way, and a highway construction inspector and all the other things that goes with that. Some of you people probably know what it is. Being the mayor of Front Royal, as I was in 2008 or 9, one thing that I remember when I was there with Mike Graham, we got everything accomplished those 2 years that we ever had on our books. We had things on the book that had been there for 10, 15 years. We got them all accomplished during my tenure as mayor during those 2 years. And I stand with the community. I want to do the things that the community needs for me to do as a mayor. I want to be proactive in a lot of issues. We have tourism, we have economic development. We have quite a few other projects, as Jake has mentioned this evening about the EDA. We're working towards getting the finances for the police department that, with the help of the EDA and the County Board of Supervisors, we had a great meeting the other week, and hopefully that those numbers will come to us in the near future so we can get started and get in the funds for the police department so we can begin the bond issue. The other things that we really need to do is, like I said, the Afton Inn. We have a problem with that. Hopefully we can get that resolved in the next several months and either get started or do something else with the property. We have a lot of things on our plate at this time, and I think as the leadership that we have now, Matthew is great. I'd like to follow maybe in his footsteps and follow some of the ideas that he had. I think I can, and I'm almost sure that the citizens will be behind me in the things that I do. And so on November 5th, I would ask you to cast your vote for me, and hopefully I can be your next mayor in Front Royal. Thank you.
Gene. Okay, we'll start off with the first question. Each question will be to each candidate. We're going to ask you both the same question, and you both answer. Hollis, you're going to be first. Okay, so first question is, what is your view on the Afton Inn property? Do we remodel what we currently have there? Do we demolish it? And if we do, what will be the site use? And what are the costs associated with each of these, ideas to do something with the Afton Inn? Hollis?
I think simply the public is demanding that something needs to happen at the Afton Inn. Back in early 2000, council has been trying to get the afternoon to actually do something with it since it was on the corner of our main road, Main Street and Royal. We have gone through some transitions with the builder. The developer has come in, he started work, council was happy, we were given good news. Now all of a sudden it stopped, council's now moving forward, pushing to try to get something to go on. And I'm happy that the afternoon is still in the highlight, not just to be sitting there. Cost, when we traded the town hall for the afternoon, we assured the citizens that there would be no tax money involved. I think to this date that has been a true statement that we made. Any other questions on that? That was pretty much it.
Gene, same question. You want me to read it again?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, having being on the council at this time, as Jacob Meza mentioned a few minutes ago, we're working right now with the EDA. We're trying to get them to deed it back to the town. Many years ago, and I'm not sure the year, 2003, I believe, that's when we made the trade, hoping at that time that they would come in and they would develop the Aptec site, which we were assured that would take place through the EDA, and that never materialized. Since that time, it's been up and down, and we've got a number of contractors that, according to the EDA, that was going to come in, and that didn't happen either. Now we're at a point where we need to make a final decision on what we're going to do with the EDA, with the afternoon. And so the other night, as we went to our work session, we decided that we were going to go ahead and ask to get the property back and ask the EDA to deed it back to us. Now, there may be some strings attached, we're not sure. They paid the EDA $500,000 to the contractor on the work they've already done. My philosophy is if we got to eat the $500,000, I think it's better just to remove it at this point, because I don't want to see the taxpayer in Front Royal have to pay this $500,000. The cost involved in this building is estimated at $2.1 million according to the contractor. We've had it analyzed by a couple of commercial appraisers. They said that even when it was finished, we couldn't get but not much over $2 million out of the building. So, you know, I'm not sure it's a profitable issue. So we're going to have to look at it pretty hard when it comes to the point where if we do get the property and if we can work it out, I'm hoping we can. But if it can be worked out in a financial, it's not a financial burden to the taxpayers of Front Royal, and I won't have to vote to have it removed and either make a parking lot or whatever it might come out to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Okay, second question. And this will go to Gene first. What are your plans for growing Front Royal's business base, the Aptec property and other properties in the area that can be utilized to help grow the tax base, the business tax base for Front Royal?
Well, you know, having growth in Front Royal is really a tough issue. I know that through the EDA, they have brought in some businesses over the years. But right now, we have a lady that's with us named Felicia Hart, and she is our economic development person. If I'm elected mayor, that will be one thing that I am going to push very heavily, that she begins to gear her office up to strictly, mostly for economic development. Right now, we have problems on Main Street. We're trying to do a facade contract, and that's not going very well. We put it out to bid. We had one contractor, and the prices were double or triple, I believe, of the cost of what they had anticipated. So to get the economy moving in Front Royal, it's going to take some time, but I do believe working with the EDA, if it continues, working with our Felicia Hart, who's our EDA administrator in Front Royal, I think we can be very proactive in getting business in Front Royal. But we got to work towards that goal. And hopefully as mayor that I can be a pusher and the council will go along with me and help us to get that moving along. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gene. Hollis, same question. You need me to read it again?
No thanks. All right. You know, economic development comes from the urge to come to our community. Low taxes, great schools, working ability between the council and the Board of Supervisors and the EDA. The EDA, yes, is going through a little traumatic experience at the present time, but I think it will emerge successful, and it'll get back to business. We hired Felicia Hart, I'm thinking 4 years ago, for community development. Unfortunately, her duties with the visitor center and doing 2 jobs in one hasn't been very successful, but we absolutely have the need for someone to go out and beat the sidewalk, beat the streets, to find other businesses, to attract other businesses to come here. Go to Winchester. They have businesses everywhere. When they built the Commons, Clay Athey was the attorney for the Commons, and they sent every business in town a brochure asking them to come take a look at us, and we need to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Hollis. Okay. Hollis, this question will go to you first. And this is all stuff that we talked about earlier this evening, how will the town interact with the EDA with you as the new mayor? Do you have any ideas on how we can move forward to bring transparency and trust back to the community concerning the EDA?
I think the council is doing a great job at the moment with meeting with the county and the EDA. I know that Mr. Meza had asked Tom Sayre at one time for a joint meeting. I had asked Dan Murray for a joint meeting, and it is now happening after a year, I think. Jake has always been very adamant that we need to have open communications. Problem with the EDA, the county and the town has no control over the board, so hopefully with the new board members that are being in place by the Board of Supervisors, they're making strides to improve, to get the trust back from the citizens, and to keep the costs at a minimum with no tax coming from the citizens of the county.
Thank you, Alex. Gene, same question?
You know, I think it's very imperative that we work directly with the EDA. We have pretty much, as a council over the years, and well, the last number of years, we have lost really contact with the EDA other than just some projects that they were working with us and we were trying to work with them. A lot of those projects never came to fruition. I do believe that as being the mayor, I think that I can bring some cohesiveness to them with that, and going to their meetings and being part of the EDA and speaking up and working with the EDA board. I think Mr. Parson will probably be a good fit in with that so far. Again, if it is still in progress, and I believe it will be, because I think the EDA is very important to the community. It's brought in a lot of businesses, and I think we all see the results of that from out on the corridor, from DuPont, even well before DuPont, but other things that have come in, such as Interbank and the other businesses. But we need to work together, and it just seemed like everything that's happening with the EDA and the last group of people that were there, we were the last ones who were told what was coming here and what was happening. And then all of a sudden, they come to us and say, oh, we need water, we need this, we need that. And we're really caught behind the 8 ball. So, I hate to say this, the county's put us in that position. So we need to work together with the county and make sure that we are on board first and not the last one to know what's going to happen, because it puts us in a position that the people of public says, well, we want this, so it's up to the town to provide the utilities for them. Well, it should be the other way around. It should come to us, can we supply the utility before that development starts and begins? Because we have the infrastructure and we have the utilities for that company to come in here. So it's definitely, we got to work closer together with the board, we got to work closer with the EDA, and I think as my tenure as mayor, I think we can do that. But it's going to take all of us working together to bring anything to fruition. Because if we have 2 or 3 working against us, which I think we have in the past, and I think we need to work together and make it a positive thing, we can do that if we all work together to the same common goal. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gene. Okay. Another question, this one will go to Gene first. How do you plan to work with the county concerning joint ventures, consolidating services to save the taxpayers money? both the town and the county taxpayers.
Could I have when you talk about consolidated
Services, we have 2 police departments. Are there things that we can consolidate? How do you feel about that to help save tax money?
Okay. Well, I think, again, it's very imperative that we work together with the county board of supervisors. We're all Warren County citizens, and I hope that we all realize that. I pay the same taxes in town as you do if you live in the county. And I think we all should be able to share everything equally with the town or the county. But it just seems like before all these things take place, when something happens, the county board wants us to pay our share, plus when they want us to pay another 50% of the share that whatever the cost may be. That's not right. We're already paying 50% because we're about equally in as far as the number of people in each the town and the county. We're about 15 to half, they're about 15 to half, 16. So we're paying 50% already. But we can work together. But we got to have members of the Board of Supervisors working with us. And we need to know what's going on with the county. They need to know what's going on with the town. And if we do that, if we can share a lot of these things, the services, for instance, we are working together with the building program, with our inspectors and the town zoning department. We have an infrastructure in place that if someone comes in for a permit from us, it automatically goes to the county. So we're working together on that, hoping that we can have a better relationship with our builders and contractors in Front Royal, Warren County, or even from people coming in from out of town. I do believe, though, we need to be a little bit more proactive in trying to bring these people together. And I think this has been an issue that we're not friendly people. We're not friendly in town. We're not friendly with the county, with the building department. And I think we need to get that back. We need to be friendly with them. If they come in and they can't do something, Mr. So-and-so, you can't do this, but I'll work with you to get you something that you can do. And that's what we need to do. We need to be proactive and bringing these people in here. But we sort of run them away when they come in here because we don't share the same reasoning behind these issues that comes to us. But we need to work together as a unit. We're all citizens and we all should share that responsibility, whether you're in town or whether you're in the county. And I think we can share services. I'm not sure about the police department. I think we work together good with the police department and the sheriff's department. We're going to get a new sheriff on staff after November the 5th. I think that our chief and whoever the new sheriff may want to be, if it's Mr. Poe or one of the others, we need to sit down with the chief and the new sheriff and try to work out all these parameters that we can get these things together. One instance that I really believe we need to do is get our radio system working together. So far, we got 2 radio systems and it's just a chaos. We need to have a central dispatch for the police department and the sheriff's department working together for a good common goal for everybody. And I'm sure there's other services we can sort of combine with, but again, we have to come together as a unit. And when we do that, we can move forward and be very proactive in all the things that we do within the community here in Warren County. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. All right, Hollis, same question.
Consolidation between the county government and the town council has been going on for many, many years. If some of you remember, 25 years ago, a referendum was put on the ballot for people to vote whether they wanted to consolidate with the town and the county. It was defeated. Town citizens wanted to keep their identity and the county wanted to keep their identity. Unfortunately, if you do go and have a consolidation, the town citizens, what are they going to lose? Are they going to lose their trash pickup, or is the county residents going to gain trash pickup? Are we going to be able to extend our electricity that we hold dearly to hold our electric bills down? We have water, we have sewer, we have all these things, and county folks would like to have these luxuries, but they choose to live in the county. So having consolidation, the question would absolutely have to be put on the referendum, but I think before it even would go to a referendum, people would have to sit down and just really discuss what the benefit would be. The town citizens pay for their own water, they pay for their own sewer, county residents pay for their septic systems and their wells, so it's kind of evenly divided whether you want to live here in town and enjoy the luxuries of the sidewalks, curb and gutter lighting, or do you want to live in the country with the bugs and the darkness?
Thank you. Okay, that's the 4 questions that I have. We've got 3 audience questions. I'm just gonna ask one because of time. We still have to vote, do nominations, and then we also have some school board endorsements. All right, so last question from the audience. And this one will go to Hollis first. What is your position on the proposed residential development in the 522 corridor?
That is an easy one of all that's asked tonight. The town of Front Royal is in the business of selling water. Unfortunately, the development that they're asking for is going to require 100,000 gallons. Yes, the town would make a lot of money. Yes, the county would become more congested, but I think there's going to be a lot more discussion on that 1,000 homes. Whether I live there or a family lives there, whoever lives there, it's just going to be a matter of if the town's going to be able to supply enough water to make sure that they have enough for their own citizens first, and then we'll share it into the corridor. But I'm understanding that the council members are really discussing this issue, and it is an issue. There's a lot of people that want it, a lot of people don't want it. There's not enough information out there in the public. I doubt there's enough information for council and the board of supervisors to actually grasp the magnitude of that development. And it'll just be a wait and see. And Jake, I totally agree that the town is in the water business.
All right, Gene, same question.
This has been one of the most unusual things, and it goes right back to what I said earlier. The county got the request. They sent it to their planning commission. The planning commission turned it down. Then the board of supervisors are going to have a meeting when, I don't know. See, they didn't come to us. We learned about it by a letter that came from Doug Stanley. And that bothers me. We should have known about it before anybody from the county even thought about taking it to the planning commission. So we have enough time to consider all the ramifications of the problems that we have. Yes, we're doing it. We have a lot of information, and I think Jake had asked for it, and we'd had it already before. We have about 1,000 plus houses already basically approved in the eastern corridor of Front Royal. We have the Front Royal Limited Partnerships. We have several other smaller developments out there that we've already planned to provide them with water. When the plans came to us, they said they only use 60 gallons per day per person. Well, our average use in town right now is 115 gallons per person per household. So you're looking at probably double or 3 times the amount of water they requested in the corridor for this development than what they had initially come in and asked for. We have already decided that under our MOU with the county, that we would provide commercial water up to 40,000 gallons of water to that development there if it was going to be retail. Then all of a sudden we get hit with another 1,025 building lots or homes to be built there. Right now, if things doesn't change, I'm going to tell you, I will not vote for it. I think we have a problem with our water system. We are mandated by the DEQ on how much water we can pull from the Showdown River. We're running about 2.2 million per day right now. If this new corridor opens up in the east, it's going to be around 3.5 million gallons. We've got a permit to pull out about up to 6,000 gallons. 6 million gallons a day. But the point is, can we do it? Because when the water begins to drop in the river, they tell us we got to conserve water in Front Royal. We never had it this year or last year, but 2 or 3 years in the past, we had to conserve water. We can't really afford to put all this water out into the corridor because we have to survive and take the water for our own citizens of Front Royal. Now, I like to have it developed, but I like to see them come back and do what they said they were going to do. It's going to be retail. As far as I'm concerned, it needs to be retail. And I'm really, at this point, I'm not concerned too much unless they can prove to me that we can supply the water without putting a strain on our system at the water plant or the sewer plant or the river, because God makes the river, we don't. We have to make sure we survive with the water we have, and I don't want to see us put a major strain on our system to give water to people in the county because this is an afterthought, because it was 40,000 gallons, now they want 300,000. So I'll have to think long and hard before I vote for that. If I become the mayor, I won't have a vote. It'll be left up to the council that will be seated at that time. But I will tell you this, if it comes to a vote and we don't make the changes and thinking that we can afford to do this, then my vote will be no. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll have closing statements. We'll start with you.
I thought we rotate.
We can do that. You want to close up? Yep, that's fine. Go ahead. Gene?
Again, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the committee for inviting me here tonight. And Steve, especially you, since you're the chairperson. I've been here many times before, and I don't mind coming, and I don't mind speaking to you people. All I can say is this, that with my experience as being the mayor 2 years before, and the things that we accomplished during that particular period of time when I was the mayor before, and been on this town council for a number of years, and we've got a lot of projects done, and I think that sometimes it's under the auspice of some of the information that I know since I was Director of Public Works, that we can get through a lot of these problems with my help and helping them as a council. Sometimes they don't listen to me, but sometimes they do. But regardless of whether we listen or not, I like to be your mayor for Front Royal for the next 1 year. It's only for a 1 year term. And I'd like to ask you for your support and your vote tonight to let me be on the ballot as your designee through the Republican Party. And I want to thank you for allowing me to come, but I would appreciate your vote on whatever it is good.
Thank you, Gene.
Let me close by saying I have been a public servant for almost 20 years, including the council membership and serving as your mayor. During that time, Front Royal has experienced tremendous changes for the better. These changes have witnessed tremendous opportunities for growth, which we continue to celebrate. But we must be vigilant in moving forward in safeguarding the public's trust in its leadership. Growth requires increased responsibility to ensure ethical behavior as well as good sense in determining our future. I come to you tonight for your support, and you have my word that I will dedicate my energy to achieving unity and moving my town forward. This is my pledge to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I want to thank everybody, and at this time, I want to ask the mayor candidates to take their seats, and we will move forward back opening the meeting again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tewalt today.
Okay. At this time, we're going to open the floor for nominations for the endorsement of mayor. We're here, any nominations from the floor for the endorsement of mayor? Jake?
Ready to speak for the nomination?
Well, yeah.
All right. I'd like to propose Mr. Eugene Tewalt. It's no secret that him and I don't always vote along the same line, but one thing I can say is that Mr. Tewalt is very transparent on how he's going to vote and what the issues. He speaks openly in front of the public during our work sessions and public meetings. He's never gone back on what he said he's going to do, and he's never worked against council with backroom deals or anything along those lines. So as far as I'm concerned, again, even though I don't always vote the same, he's fiscally conservative, and he sticks to that. So again, even though we don't always vote along the same lines, he's somebody that I personally trust and would nominate me.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a second Second by Gary Gillespie. Okay? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, the floor is still open for nominations. Do I hear any other nominations for the endorsement of mayor? Mr. Radigan, yes.
Can a county resident nominate?
Yes, this committee, we are the Republican committee. There's not a separate Republican committee for Front Royal.
Okay.
We all work together, we all are under the same tent.
Everybody in the whole county gets a vote.
Yep,
Okay,
the
thank you.
whole committee gets to vote, same thing we do with North River Supervisor at that position.
Thank you. I would like to formally nominate Hollis Tharpe. Hollis Tharpe was elected to this term. He himself made the difficult and what he thought was the most ethical decision to bow out during his issues with the accusations that were levied against him. Those accusations have since been dismissed and dropped. I believe that Hollis deserves a chance to fill out the remainder of his term. Would also like to make the comment that when the EDA scandal broke, and when former Councilwoman Bevan Ager appeared before council, that the mayor was one of the first elected officials to extend a heartfelt apology for not taking Ms. Ager's accusations and concerns seriously. Thank you for your time.
Okay, we have a first, do we have a second for Mr. Tharpe?
I second the nomination.
Okay. Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll have two candidates. We will call for a, yes. Are there any more nominations for mayor?
The entire room is open to make a nomination.
Yeah,
If anybody
it
in
would
here
have
would like
to be
to
a write-in.
have
We only
anybody,
have two people actually.
right. So if
File
anybody
their
wants to
paperwork.
nominate someone to be endorsed for a write-in campaign, they may do so.
No write-ins this time? Okay.
Somebody wants to nominate.
Roger, what do you want to do a write-in campaign?
Oh, good Lord, help us.
Nominated as
Okay, at this time-
trying to run and elected as trying to serve.
You know, maybe you could be like some type of reporter, elected reporter or something. Mascot of the town. Okay, at this time, I'm going to close nominations, and we will go ahead and hand out ballots. We'll do a roll call. As your name is called, please come up and get a ballot. Okay, a couple things. This is just an endorsement, not a nomination. You're not going to be penalized for supporting whoever doesn't get the endorsement. These are two good Republicans, and I'm sure they will remain Republican with the endorsement or without the endorsement. Nominations are a different process. If you are a Republican nominee, you are bound to support the Republican nominees on November 5th. We had a little controversy at the last canvass where one of the independent candidates' wife came in to vote. She was questioned whether she would support the Republican nominees. She said no. And I said, don't give her a ballot. This is what we're supposed to do as Republicans. We only want Republicans voting in our Republican primaries and canvases. It's just, we don't want people that are running against our nominees deciding the outcome of decisions of the Republican Party, either by canvass, mass meeting, or even in this committee. It would just be, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we let people in here that were supporting other candidates, or independent candidates, to try to come in here and influence how we're going to spend money to help our candidates win. I just wanted to set that straight. I know there's a lot of controversy out there on Facebook about that. But any of the people on the Credentials Committee or any Republican during a canvass or a mass meeting has every right to ask them whether they're going to support the Republican nominees or not. And if they don't, we have every right to refuse them a ballot or refuse them service here in the Republican committee. Same thing works on the Democratic side. They run pretty much by the same rules. So that's what happened. The reason Miss May was so-called singled out is because she's the wife of an independent candidate. If she would have said, yes, I am supporting the Republican nominees, we would have handed her a ballot. Okay? She's not the candidate. Sometimes that happens. Wife and husband don't agree, and that happens. But if an independent candidate came in, there's no question in my mind they would not get a ballot because they're already running as an independent against our Republican nominee. Just to clear that up. Any questions about that? If somebody doesn't know, a couple of people called me about it when it first popped out on Facebook. There was some rumors going around. There was also some untruths, I won't call them lies, going around as well. But I did try to
So much better.
settle those as well, Amber did as well. Okay. Okay. All right, we have a winner of the endorsement, or a recipient of the endorsement of the Republican Committee will be Eugene Tewalt.
There were 42 voters.
Gene?
I couldn't hear, but somebody's clapping. I want to thank the committee for voting for me, and I'll do the best I can as your Republican nominee or endorsement, whatever you want to call it. And I want to thank everybody for supporting me. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene.